Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
What's happening, guys, and welcome back to Ready, Set, Go, a real estate investing podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. We got a special guest coming from the East Coast of New York, and the guy's been in the game for the last 12 plus years. Started off as a fix and flip investor, done wholesaling, ground up construction, you name it, over 90 plus deals at the time. And the last couple of years has transitioned over to investing his own capital along with partnering up with his two brothers to be able to become more of the hard money lender, the private money lender, and helping out more people, more investors like you and I to be able to grow and scale our portfolio, being able to get the quick bridge type of funding and loans and DSCR loans. And at this point has lent over 500 million, which is incredible and really exciting. And something that the guy started off doing door-to-door sales and cold calling to be able to get some of the deals that he, first began with, right? And we all have the humble beginnings to where we're at today. If you guys are listening for the first time and looking to become a real estate investor or looking to grow and scale, you'll realize quickly as you really grow and scale your investing portfolio that becoming the bank is the safest, most lucrative position that all investors end up with at the end of the day. Like, that's where you want to get to at the end of the rainbow here. It's like when everybody starts to get boiling down to, hey, I don't want to live this active lifestyle anymore. I don't want to do all the heavy lifting, all the headaches. I rather have the note for protection, have the security, deal a little bit of paperwork, and become the money partner where I'm lending out money. The investor guy does all the hard work, and afterwards I'm protected. I get a wire, a couple months later, a year later, whatever, and constantly just becoming the bank. It's the best, strongest position to ever be in. And that's where, you'll find yourself at the end of the day. So the sooner that you realize that, the sooner that you acknowledge it, the faster you can get to, hey, let's get some fun started. Let's get some money in our pocket and let's stop working working harder, right? Start working smarter. So I'm excited to really deep dive into this conversation today. So Solomon, what is happening, man? How are you?
Doing good, man. Thanks so much for having me today. I appreciate it, Brandon.
Yeah, likewise, dude. So you got an awesome background. I love cold calling. I love door knocking. I've done that myself. And I actually had an interview with somebody recently and I was shocked. This guy, he was working for a firm and doing cold calling. And one of his cold calling, he ended up getting a $50 million lender. And he told me that wasn't even his highest one that he's cold called in the past. I was like, holy cow, like $50 million over a phone call, that it developed into that relationship. And it's just mind blowing what you can do with getting your butt out there and putting in the reps, right? It's a numbers game. So not to take any discount, I want to hear about your story for anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, what you're up to. Can you give us that 30,000 foot view to make more sense of how the hell you got to this point today?
Absolutely. So I'll start off by saying, I started in the industry in 2010. My cousin, who I refer to like my brother today, Ruben Isgala, reaches out to me and says, hey, I'm working at this office. We're doing loan modifications. This is 2010, right after the financial crisis.
Yep. I did that as well in the past. So we were working with people when I first got started. That's good. I love it.
Yeah. He's like, dude, come in, you'll be helping people, get a loan modification on their properties before they lose it to foreclosure. So I came in, I was fresh out of high school. I took a little time off of college. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to go anywhere. Let me just start doing this. I was cold calling, did a horrible job. I was horrible at it. I think I closed one deal. I'm not too sure if I did. Got super discouraged. And then I was like, you know what? I think maybe school is the right route for me. Applied to school, got into college. I thought I was going to do pharmacy school. That didn't work out. I'm like, all right, this is not for me. And in 2012 or 2013, I came back into the real estate industry. And, at that time, my brother and Ruben already started a real estate acquisitions company. So they're already on the acquisition side. So I was a few years behind. So I had some catching up to do. Jumped on the phone right after, right again, right? Didn't do too good. So I was like, all right, I need to sit down and try to figure this out. So started reading a couple of books on sales and how to be, I guess, more personable. Found some success in that. 48 Laws of Power was a great book that I read. Had a fantastic time reading that, multiple times already. Started doing better in cold calls, was setting up appointments to meet with people to sell their properties, to purchase their properties rather. And then from there, I also was door knocking at the same time. So this is like 2013. Not many people were in real estate at that time. Some people are slowly diving back into it. I was door knocking in Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, Cypress Hills area of Brooklyn, New York, some parts of Queens as well. So at those times, they were rough neighborhoods. So I have a bunch of stories there, but I think it molded me to who I am today. I mean, I would never change it for anything. But fast forward a few years, we're fixing, flipping, developing in the New York City area, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and some parts of Staten Island. 2018 comes around. We're not seeing the same kind of deal flow that we're seeing for the past few years. The returns weren't as lucrative as they were for the past few years. So we're like, you know what? We've always seen our hard money lender make so much money, and they were always secure in every single deal that they lent on. Why not just start a hard money firm? I have a great story behind that too, where it triggered us. It's like, hey, this guy just made all his money and, we're walking away with nothing. We purchased a one-family home in the Bronx where we thought we were going to make a killing on. We thought we were going to make, $100K plus on the deal. There are a few issues with the foundation. There's some other issues with the property where we walked away losing like $50,000 on the deal. And at the end of the day, our hard money lender made like $60,000, $70,000 on us. And we're looking at it, we're like, this guy just made all the money,
didn't do a damn thing except lend it out. He trusted us to, and if you didn't pay him, he's just taking back the property, putting liens on your stuff, right? There's a bunch of, you would have owed it one way or the other.
Exactly. So like,
he was in a safe spot.
Exactly. Like, this guy's so secure. Anything goes wrong, he's taking over the property. Even if we pay off today, he's still making his money.
Yeah.
Like, this is the route that we have to go. So in 2018, we founded WeLend. And to date, we've lent a little over $500 million, which is still, for us, considered peanuts in our industry.
Sure.
We're growing and expanding our programs, but that's how we landed with WeLend.
I love it, man. So it's called WeLend.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. Talk to me about the benefits of, like, why would an investor go to a hard money lender?
There are a few reasons, right? First reason being that a conventional bank really does not want to lend on properties that are distressed. Yes, you can get a 203K loan, but that's if you're living in the property, right? For these properties that we're lending on, these are all investment type properties.
Yep.
Right. So banks don't want to lend on distressed assets, especially in the niche space of the 1 to 4 units, because though for them, those loan amounts are a little too small for them to lend on. If it was like a larger asset class, where there be like 200-door multifamily or 300-door multifamily, then they would start entertaining that. But in this realm, it's a bit small for them. So the benefits to working with a hard money lender is you leverage your money, right? You're using other people's money. So you're able to get up to 90% of your acquisition and 100% for your construction costs and literally get into the deal with 10% down plus your closing costs. A lot of people that are not in the real estate industry look at these real estate investors and like, where the hell are they getting all this cash to buy up all these properties, right? How are they purchasing all these properties? Well, guess what? They have lenders behind them, right? They have a lender like ourselves. They call me up and say, hey, Saul, I'm purchasing this property for $1 million. I'm putting in, $300,000 of construction. My after repair value tomorrow is going to be $2.5 million. Are you going to lend on it?
Mm-hmm.
We write the deal. We take a look at the deal and say, hey, you know what? The ARV is at 2.5 mil. His all-in cost is 1.3 within excluding his closing costs. It looks like a very good deal. Why would we not want to lend on it? And from start to finish, it generally takes us about 7 business days to get a deal closed. So those are the benefits of working with a private lender. You're not cash strapped, right? Today, if you're putting in that $1.3 million of your own capital to work, and tomorrow you have another deal that comes and falls on your lap, guess what? You're not able to purchase that deal. With us or with a private lender, you're able to lever your money up. You're able to go and purchase multiple deals and get higher returns on your money.
Yeah, that's good. And I would add to it by saying the paperwork, like the paperwork is unreal. When you have to go the traditional route, like the paperwork can be just gruesome and a headache and it takes forever. When dealing with a hard money lender, they want to know a little bit about you and your experience so that, they are betting on you as the individual. But if you have a track record, then they are more than okay with seeing a few deals under your belt and confident in you, but they're really judging the property. Like, are they okay with that property and taking it back if needed? And if you have enough spread on the deal and you have some experience, then it's a no-brainer and they can close quick. So you don't need to do any paperwork. It's not a pain in the ass. It's just quick, easy. And like I said, they're going more off of the project, and there's so many benefits to that in itself. Like, it's just OPM is the way to go. But man, if you don't need to do all that headache and paperwork, or if your credit isn't right, if your credit's not right, you should come check out Credit Counsel Elite so that you can get things improved and get more funding. But my God, it's just incredible. I just locked up a deal the other day, and I called up my hard money lender right away and asked him what he thought on the deal. We're getting it for $1 million under contract. It needs about $150,000 for the renovation. And the rates have gone up this whole year like crazy. So it's more than what I wanted to pay, but I'm looking at it and we have, it's an off market deal that it's going to come with, as is right now. I could just put it on the market and probably sell it for like 1.5 million. It's incredible. It's like a home run deal. But with that being said, I would have to come to the table. He would lend the whole thing and I would have to come up with $150,000, which I can do with credit cards at 0% interest. So it's like, but I was looking at what he would actually make on this. If I hung on to it for the full 12 months, they would make about $120,000. And it's incredible because the security, the quick in and out of sending, a little bit of documents, sending wires, and they could make $120,000, right? That's incredible. That's where you want to be. You want to turn from the investor to the actual bank, sooner than later. I love it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And going back to what you were talking about with the paperwork, I had one of our borrowers who's a very close friend of ours and has been a real estate broker for about 10 plus years and does sellouts, condo sellouts in gorgeous neighborhoods in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. First time he looked at a project for himself, he calls us up and he's like, "Hey guys, I have a project. What do you guys need from me?" And I was like, "Well, we need a contract. We need a scope of work. If you have a track record, we want to take a look at your track record and a 600 credit score. And your entity documents." He's like, "Dude, that's it. That's all I need to start my own projects." I'm like, yeah. He's like, "I wish I knew this earlier." He's like, I would have bought so many other deals. It's amazing because so many people really don't know how easy it is to get a hard money loan. And I'm glad that you brought that up because, every time I speak to someone, it's like mind boggling. It's like, wow, a lot of people really don't know about it, really don't take advantage. Listen, of course, there's also risk involved.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, I wanted to discover the risk. So let's talk about the risk for a moment. What does that look like on both sides?
Risk as a borrower, right? The biggest thing is, losing the property to foreclosure, right?
Yep.
The property going into foreclosure, you're completely out of the deal. With private lenders, you're able to, I hate saying this, but it's true because a lot of lenders do this. As a borrower, if you're in default with a private lender, you can always call them up and say, "Hey, I'm in this situation. What are we able to do? Can we figure out a payment plan? What options do I have before I lose this property to foreclosure?"
Yep.
Right. So that's the first step that they generally take. What else would you want? That's like the first risk. The second risk is getting into too many deals, right? Too many deals that you're not able to handle, right? Have a borrower that's in 10 deals right now, and it's getting very tough for him to make his monthly payments. Right? You want to make sure you have enough liquidity set aside for both your construction and for your monthly payments to your hard money lender, right?
Yeah. So it's the systems and processes that you put in place. Understanding the terms and conditions is upfront, like the most crucial, right? So all hard money lenders are typically going to have it's a percentage annualized, and then it's also the points. And points is basically the upfront cost. It's a percentage. So say it's 2 points, that's 2% of the whole project, the whole picture here. And they're going to want that up front. It's going to be, put into the overall calculations of closing costs and so forth, wrapped into the loan. And so now understand this, it's typically for, not a bridge loan for this example, but for a, fix and flip loan, it's typically over a 12-month time frame, right? And with this time frame, sometimes some of these lenders will give extensions of 6 months with some fees and terms and conditions that, but you got to have transparency and communication. But realistically, you have 12 months for this loan, and time is ticking. Each day it costs more money. So prorated on that spectrum there. So it's really important to realize that first off, and then also realize you are responsible for a monthly payment, just like a mortgage would be. You are responsible for a monthly payment, and that's going to come out of your pocket, meaning you may still want to get extra additional funds outsourced from other places, like a private money lender or your own savings, or a 401k or whatever, or credit cards at 0% interest. You might want to take out additional capital so that you can have that monthly payments to the hard money lender secured and taken care of. Because if not, and you get to the place where, hey, you are a great deal finder and you have a lot of deals coming in and they're all great, but now you have 10 projects, you're doing a lot, you're stressed out on all these 10 projects, but now you're also looking at the finances and you're like, oh God, each month it's $8,000 to $10,000 per deal. And it's like, wow, this is starting to add up. Well, yeah, man, you should raise some capital for that monthly payment, because the projects could take longer. It could be extended. It could have unexpected things with construction and so forth. So you got to have these backup plans, be in agreement and understanding fully on the terms and conditions, so that you're not setting yourself up for failure, but you're planning ahead and truly understanding the full scope here to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. You make a very good point. It's sometimes, that just goes over my head with a 12-month term loan, because so many people that we deal with are like seasoned investors already. They already understand that, hey, I need to be out of this loan before the 12th month. I have X amount of time to get out. I want to be in this project maybe for 6 months. So that's why whenever we have a first-time investor come to us and, their first time fixing and flipping, want to make sure you see a term sheet from your lender, right? You want to see what all your costs are going to be. Are there any extensions? Are there going to be any extension fees? How does all that work, right? That's super important. I'm very glad that you brought that up. Another thing that I always tell my first-time borrowers is that, hey, if this is your first time fixing and flipping, you don't want to get into a project where it's going to require for you to do a full gut renovation, right? You want to stay as far away from that project as possible, unless they partner up with someone like you that has experience, right? They'll be able to walk you through the whole entire process and show you how to close that deal and get it done in a fashionably time and for you to not lose money on it. So there are many times where a first timer is going to come to us and say, I have this beautiful deal. Can you fund it? And I hate to say, but I'm sorry, but we can't do it unless you partner up with someone that has the experience and is seasoned enough to be able to walk you through the whole entire process and get you to the finish line. We're not that lender where we want a loan to own. I want to make sure that my borrowers are successful in their projects and they grow with us. That's super important for us.
That's a good key right there too. You're not greedy at all. You don't want the headache that it comes with by foreclosing and having to take back properties, and now you have to finish the project. You're no moron here. You want to set them up for success, and some lenders aren't like that. Some lenders have the team, the experience, and they're like, yeah, we can make a whole new division out of this, and we'll lend to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that, comes by. And that's not morally right or acceptable in my eyes. As an investor, if a lender ever tells you, no, we're not okay with investing on this deal, that is a good tell sign of, hey, maybe you as an investor, you should recalculate that project. I've actually had a lender tell me I thought it was a great deal and I was getting emotional into the project thinking during negotiations. And then I come to find out my hard money lender gave me a couple things to kind of challenge me on. And I was like, and I was like, yeah, we'll figure out a way around that. And it really wasn't a good strategy. It wasn't a good backup plan. And after a couple of days, they were like, you know what? I'm sorry, Brandon. We can't comfortably lend on this one. And I was like, really? I was offended at first. And then afterwards, I started looking at it more. I'm like, you know what? I bet they're right. And I started really deep diving into it as not an emotional standpoint, but hey, is this the smartest decision? And I realized that no, I'm taking on more risk than I would like and just betting on certain things that could be out of my control. And I realized at that point, I was like, this is another great reason why you partner up with good people that see it each and every day. And if they say no, then maybe I should say no as well. And I backed out of that deal and it worked out. The person that did take it, because I was watching like a hawk afterwards, they failed on it miserably.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was really like, it was like one of those things of like, Jesus, like I could have lost hundreds of thousands on that one. And just the headache and pain and stress that comes with that. So no need for that. I think that's a great tip. Talk to me about the risk for like yourself as the overall lender, like hard money lender. I guess the biggest risk is having that brand new person or like having to actually take back a property, the headache that could come. It's all not sunshine and rainbows for you guys either, right?
Yeah. I mean, especially in the beginning of 2020, we had a lot of borrowers reaching out and saying, hey, I'm no longer making payments because the government said I shouldn't be making payments. And I'm like, dude,
you greedy son of a bitches. Yeah, I'm not the government. What did the government do for you recently? Like, how's that been working out? What have they been doing with your tax returns?
I'm like, dude, come on. I'm like, these are all business purpose loans. Right? Anything happens, you still need to make your monthly payments. Please make sure you're making it because, I don't want to sit here and have to foreclose on anyone. It's the last thing that we ever wanted to do.
For sure.
A majority of our borrowers are like, all right, you know what? We'll start making payments again. I guess they did some more research on it. Media didn't help. I'm sure like everyone's saying, forbearance this, forbearance that. And, at the end of the day, the people that did choose a forbearance are in so much crap right now that
of course. When's the last time the news ever set somebody up for success? Be careful with that stuff, boys and girls. Like, do your own. Yeah, whenever the news tells you about some new medicine, they're telling you something amazing about it right now. But 10 years ago, they were saying something horrible. And guess what? In another 5-10 years, they're going to be saying, hey, everything that we promoted back in the day, don't do that. It's actually coming out with cancer and all these other things. So Be careful with the damn or social media, the media itself and everything else. God forbid.
I mean, that's one, right? Your borrowers stop making payments. So you start reaching out, trying to figure out a resolution. Two, of course, is worst case scenario where you need to foreclose on a property, right? Those are the biggest risks that we have. I mean, listen, market trends are one day is up, next day can be down, right? So if we lent on a market where, it was trending up at the time, we were doing great. The ARV maybe was at, let's say, hypothetically, $500,000. But in the event we take over the property, the after repair value is now maybe at $400,000 or whatever the case may be. So that is a huge risk for us. We're buying back a property where, there's not much upside anymore, and it's not really what we would want it to be. But I mean, look, in many cases, our strategy is originate loans and sell loans to the secondary market and kind of have that risk mitigated that way. But we also have a balance sheet. And we balance sheet many deals in the New York City area because that's our backyard, right? We understand the market fully. We understand where it's going, how it's going. What areas are being rezoned, what the mayor's thinking, the whole 9 yards for us to be, comfortable with balance sheeting those deals, right? So there are many deals that we balance sheet in the New York City area, right? But those are the biggest risks for us, right? And of course, the third risk is having a first-time borrower getting into a project that requires that full gut renovation, right? We shy away from that right away. We deny that right away. Another risk would be having a borrower getting into multiple deals at one time. I would say like 20 or 30 deals in one shot, right? Like your thought process is, well, I need to put my money out to work and I need to lend it out as much as I can. But at the same time, if I'm lending out to one individual that might be biting too much that they can't chew, it's a huge risk.
Yeah. Now, once you get to that stage of, taking down 8 to 10, 15, 20 properties a month type of thing, then I'm sure as the lender, just like a bank would, people need to identify this and realize that there's caps to everything. A bank has a comfortableness level when it comes down to risk tolerance and so forth. The same thing with any type of lender. When they have that much money that they're betting on, like I said originally, a lot of hard money lending, they're betting more on the deal itself. And yes, they want to see a little bit about your experience and so forth. And if you have a little bit of a track record, great. They'll be able to lend to you. But when you get to taking down 10, 15, 20 properties, they might want to have another reconsideration of like, hey, let's deep dive a little bit closer into your infiltration. Like, what does your systems look like? What does your team look like? Can you truly keep up and manage this? Do you guys have this as a well-oiled machine? And if not, then there may be a higher risk level. And if it is well-oiled and everybody's happy, hunky-dory and turning projects rapidly with less, problems, then by all means, maybe that will calm down your lender to be able to extend more lines of credit for you. But it comes down to, identifying these things and then, and just setting yourself up for success. So I love this a lot. Let's talk about, when it comes down to borrowing, what should borrowers actually present to a lender? Because I see this a lot. I see a lot of brand new people messing this part up. And like you said, some people have no idea if they don't talk to somebody like you first. As a brand new investor, they might try to go the traditional route. They see all the paperwork or all the headache or 30, 45-day closing. They're like, oh my God, what is the underwriting's coming back like a day or two before asking for more stuff. And you're just like pulling out your hair. So what does it look like for the borrower? What do you prefer to see as the lender?
I mean, for one, right, if it's your first time in real estate, you really haven't transacted before, I always say, please feel free, even if you don't have a deal, feel free to reach out to us. We'll speak to you. We'll let you know how the process works, right? Well, we can handhold as well throughout the whole entire process once you find a deal. But I think it's very important for them to be able to understand and realize, hey, this is what we need to see before you can begin a project and before we can begin funding you. I always tell our loan officers, hey, we're financial advisors to our borrowers, right? We're telling them exactly what we need, what needs to be done, underwriting, etc. So the first thing I always would love to see from a borrower, of course, is they did their diligence on the subject property, right? They know exactly what the construction budget's going to be. They already spoke to 2-3 contractors. They got quotes, so they know what the median price is for their construction budget. They spoke to a few realtors within that area where they're purchasing that property, so they have some sort of understanding what the after repair value will be for the property. And most importantly, of course, if you're experienced an investor, I want to see your track record, right? I want to see that, the deals that you flipped or deals that you've refinanced. But most importantly, initially on that first call, I want to see that deal, right? I want to understand what you're purchasing, and what your strategy is going to be with the property, what your exit's going to be. Are you flipping it or are you going to be refinancing out?
Yeah. Yeah, I always look at it like this. Whenever I reach out to my hard money lender, he asks me, what's going through your head, Brandon? What do you got on this project? And I'll send him the address. I'll tell him exactly what the plan is. Let him know, what it's going to entail, time frame, money, and let them know the comps, and they'll do their own due diligence. But if they ask for anything, I have it readily available. If it's your first time dealing with a hard money lender or just building that relationship, you should have all of that stuff readily available and send it over and request to, hey, I can send you everything that I got up front so that they can build the relationship with you and feel confident in who you are, what you're representing, and how you're going to be able to get this job done. Have backup strategies, have, multiple exits. And I always like to overestimate and expenses as well as time, and then blow them away on, hey, I did this a hell of a lot faster and a hell of a lot cheaper, and that will make them feel comfortable as they work with you in the future as well. So have these things together. Have your investor deck packet that you would naturally utilize to send out to private money lenders that you're raising capital with, to your hard money lender as well. All of this stuff can be just life changing in so many ways by showing that your area, your project, you have your backup plans, you have your strategy in place, exactly the consequences, the risk involved, exactly your strategy, and you are prepared to see this successful. And that will make the individual, the lender, feel very confident in the individual that they're investing in. And that's really important.
Absolutely.
So I love that when it comes down to somebody actually wanting to flip the script here and get to the position just like you have, the choices that you made in the past of becoming that, active real estate investor to actually becoming a hard money lender. What does that look like? I knew you did a lot of cold calling, door knocking. Did you raise capital that way as well? And did you, at this point, a lot of hard money lenders, they get a lot of private capital themselves at good rates, and then they kind of put all of this together so that they can become the hard money lender to other investors like myself, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, in our fund, we have our own personal capital in the fund, and then we go out there and raise capital from doctors, lawyers, people with 401ks, accredited investors, right? That's what we look for in the fund today, and it's truly passive income. Unlike when, people are telling you, hey, come in as an LP on a deal and you're going to be passive, right? But there's no such thing as passive in real estate unless you're on the debt side. And that's my opinion. So, so we're constantly raising capital. We're still raising capital to this date. So, I mean, returns on there, you're probably seeing anywhere from like 8 to 11% returns on an annual basis, which is not bad. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay, great. And in this fund, do they get any upside on equity or tax write-offs, or is it just debt side that they get?
That would be a question truly for my partner Ruben. He would be for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, I'm. As far as setting up the fund, when did you guys set up your guys' fund?
In 2018.
2018, cool. Yeah. And then how do you guys go after, find all the private money lenders for this? Is it, I know you said doctors, lawyers, 401k, individuals like that, accredited investors, but how do you guys market to that? Because that's going to be for a fund management company. It's like that will always be an ongoing thing regardless, always bringing in more capital for the fund, and then always having the, opportunities coming in to be able to put it to work.
So the way in which we got started, we had our own private capital in there.
Yep.
Reached out to friends and family. I think that was the first step that we did. Friends and family that, were able to invest into the fund. And then from there was truly a word of mouth. People were just speaking to each other and say, hey, I invested with the Wheeline guys. These are my returns. I see my monthly distributions as like butter, right? I have no issues with them. And this is what they're offering. So a lot of word of mouth. So from that on, it was like a snowball effect. People just start reaching out on their own and saying, hey, I have X amount of capital I want to invest. But also marketing on social media. I think it's huge too, right? A lot of people underestimate that, but social media is huge as well. I think across all social media platforms, we have roughly, I would want to say about like 30,000 followers around that range. It's not much, but majority of them are in the real estate sector. And there are some people that reach out to us and say, hey, I want to invest with you guys.
Yeah, I love it, man. There's so much money to be made out on social media and ways like you guys are making it a win-win scenario where obviously they're investing with you, which that funds the fund so that you guys can make money and make everybody else happy. But they're getting monthly, dividends. They're getting monthly returns, which can make somebody feel comfortable and like, oh God, it is working. I just put it to work last month and like, I'm seeing it every month come back in. This is cool. Like that's always fun. So very cool, man. How much capital did you guys start off with putting in yourselves? All three of you guys?
We put in, I think, a little north of a few million. I don't have the exact number. Yeah, 3, I think it was around that range, 3, 4, nothing.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, the cool part with a fund is like you can start with anything. You can raise $5,000-$10,000 from a bunch of people, get your first fund of $50K. Whatever it is. But what's important behind this is that you get whoever invests with you a strong return. You get them you build that confidence, that loyalty, and you get that word of mouth spreading. You get people to say, as you give them the money back, they're like, no, like you did so well with it. Like, please take it back. Like, keep putting it to work. I love seeing the numbers go up, that's where the value is. And that word of mouth will spread like wildfire. In the opposite to that though is if you do anything negative, if you're not making people happy, then it will spread like wildfire as well. And nobody's perfect, but there's ways to set up your lenders for more success and to appreciate the investors, because without them, we're all nothing without our money partners and our investors. So it's important to have that loyalty and build that clearly.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. That goes on our origination side, and it also goes onto the fund side, right? Everyone needs each other at the end of the day. You want to make sure it works. And I think it's also huge for sponsors, borrowers, to maintain good relationships with their lenders, right? I think that's huge, because times like, COVID, you want to make sure you have that good relationship with them, and you're able to jump on that phone call and talk to them on a personal level and see what you guys are able to do. Many lenders at that time were pulling back on lending. There are some lenders that were still lending to individuals that they had a good relationship with. So I think maintaining a relationship is huge.
How many investors do you guys have roughly now?
I don't know. So Ruben really handles the fund side, and I'm more on the origination side. So I'm going to have to get Ruben's number and pick his brain left and right after this. And then I'm curious on the software that you guys use for keeping investor relationships, or certain things that you guys might do to keep everybody in communication, full transparency, and happy and hunky-dory. I know we have a software. Again, that's going to be a question really geared towards Ruben, because I'm strictly on the origination side.
Okay.
Making sure that we're producing on a monthly basis and an annual basis.
Yeah.
We have
it's important. Yeah. Well, yeah, man. No, I appreciate the bluntness, because we don't want to misguide people in the wrong direction. So I appreciate that. We're gonna have to steal Ruben, is what I'm gonna say. We're gonna have to get Ruben on here sooner than later. But yeah, we'll put him on blast soon. But hey, man, Solomon, I appreciate your time today. It was incredible. I think this is really helpful for the beginning investor, intermediate, or somebody that's looking to finally realize, like, yeah, every time I've been the bank, it pays off and it's very lucrative. I want to stick to that side, just like Solomon did. And yeah, it's a no-brainer. So guys, if you have any questions at all, you're going to want to reach out to him as soon as possible. An open book and a wealth of knowledge, and he'll tell you just like it is, be able to guide and be that financial advisor to really see if it's a good fit and how you guys can work together if it makes sense. And by all means, it's, where can actually people get a hold of you? How can they find you guys?
Yeah, so you can find us across any social media platform, We Lend LLC, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn. You guys can personally reach out to me on my LinkedIn. It's Solomon Suleymanou. And I'm sure, Brandon, you're going to add that when this airs. You can also reach out to me directly on my phone number is 212-257-3888, or via email, solomon@welendllc.com.
Cool. I love it, man. Yeah, guys, definitely reach out to Solomon. Like I said, wealth of knowledge, and can definitely guide you in the right direction or answer any questions you may have. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Do me a favor too. Go follow Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram. We just got this new page. I got like 6 followers right now. I'm really heartbroken from that. So I need to double, triple. I need to get some next level stuff on there. And so do me a favor, follow us on the Instagram for Credit Counsel Elite. That would mean the world to us. We got a lot of cool things coming in place on that we'll start spoiling you guys with. A lot of wealth of knowledge. And if you guys are, tired of getting denied from banks and really want to get a 90% approval odds, you want to get up to $500,000 every 6 months at 0% interest, get a big old stack of these, up to $500,000, 0% interest for up to 24 months. And you can repeat this every 6 months. Then check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. There's a 10-minute video on there to explain a little bit more what the hell I'm talking about. And then you can get a second opinion from either myself or one of our coaches to really assess your situation and see how we can best serve you. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to get the newest notification every single Monday for the podcast, Ready, Set, Go, Real Estate Investing Podcast. I don't know what you're waiting for. Make sure you do that right now. Stop what you're doing. Hit that subscribe button. Leave that 5-star review. It means the world to us. You guys are amazing. We will catch you on the next episode next Monday. And till then, God bless. Appreciate you guys. Solomon, you're the man. Appreciate you, dude. Thanks.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
This has been another episode episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.